The first thing I heard when the steel door slammed shut was his voice echoing in my head. "You should have stayed quiet, Naomi." That was 2 years ago. 2 years of concrete walls, flickering lights, and the slow drip of betrayal poisoning every breath I took. And today was the day they opened that door. The day Marcus Bell thought he'd finally buried me. He had no idea this was the beginning of his end. Asterisk, I share new life stories here every day, and I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and like my video. Now let's jump back into my story. I sure you love it if you keep listening till the end and tell me from which part of the world you are watching this story. I am interested to know how far away this story traveled. My name is Naomi Carter, and I wasn't always an inmate number stitched onto gray fabric. I was a wife, a mother, a woman who built her life brick by brick beside a man the city once praised as a self-made king. Marcus Bell, real estate mogul, church donor, political darling. On camera, he was polished smiles and tailored suits. At home, he was control wrapped in charm. And standing just behind him, always pretending to be harmless, was Yvette Lawson, his assistant, his confidant, his mistress. I didn't go looking for the truth. The truth came crashing into me one night when Marcus left his laptop open. Emails, bank transfers, photos that made my stomach twist. But it wasn't the affair that terrified MIT, was the illegal deals buried underneath. Shell companies, forged deeds, money laundered through community projects. I confronted him in our kitchen. I remember how calm he looked, like he'd been waiting. "You don't understand what you're reading," he said, voice smooth, "and you won't be telling anyone." By morning, my phone was gone. By nightfall, I was in handcuffs. Marcus used his connections like weapons. Suddenly, I was the mastermind behind fraud I didn't commit. Evidence appeared out of thin air, documents with my forged signature, witness statements from people I'd never met. Yvette testified with tears in her eyes, saying she feared me, said I was unstable, dangerous. Even my own lawyer avoided my eyes. The judge sentenced me to 2 years in a minimum security facility. But there was nothing minimal about losing your freedom. I missed my son Isaiah's first middle school dance, his 13th birthday, his voice changing over collect calls that cut off mid-sentence. In prison, time doesn't pass its stock shoe. I learned to survive by observing, listening, remembering every detail Marcus thought I'd forget. At night, I replayed his last visit. He stood behind the glass, expensive watch glinting. "Don't worry," he said softly. "Isaiah's taken care of. Yvette's moving in. Life goes on." That was the moment something hardened inside me. I stopped crying after that. I started planning. I befriended Lorraine, an older woman inside for white-collar crime. Former accountant, brilliant mind. She taught me how to read financial trails like fingerprints. How money always tells the truth even when people lie. I wrote everything down, dates, names, patterns. I remembered from Marcus's late-night calls and business trips. 2 years later, the guard called my name. "Carter, pack up." As I stepped outside, the sun felt unfamiliar, like it didn't recognize me anymore. My sister Denise waited in the parking lot, tears streaming as she hugged me tight. "You're free," she whispered. I looked back once at the building behind me. "No," I said quietly. "I'm just getting started." Crosstown, Marcus Bell was giving an interview, smiling for cameras, announcing his run for city council, his biggest move yet. He thought he'd won. He thought I was broken. He was wrong. Part 2. The day his empire collapsed. Freedom tastes strange when you've been starved of it. The air feels too open, the world too loud. But I didn't have time to ease back into life. Marcus Bell was days away from announcing his political campaign officially, and timing was everything. First, I went to see my son. Isaiah stood taller than I remembered, his shoulders tense like he didn't trust the moment. When he hugged me, it was careful, like he was afraid I might disappear again. "I never believed them," he said. Not once. That gave me more strength than vengeance ever could. While Marcus celebrated in public, I worked quietly. Lorraine had connected me with an investigative journalist named Andre Whitfield. a man whose career thrived on exposing powerful liars. We met in a diner far from downtown. I slid a folder across the table. "This is enough to ruin him," Andre said after an hour of silence. "But why now?" "Because he's visible," I answered, "and because he taught me what happens when you underestimate someone." Andre didn't rush the story. He verified everything, followed the money, traced shell companies back to Marcus's inner circle, right to Yvette. Meanwhile, I filed a civil appeal with new representation. This time, I had evidence. Digital timestamps proving I couldn't have signed documents. Prison call records that contradicted Yvette's testimony. And one final gift on audio recording Lorraine helped recover from an old cloud backup. Marcus's voice. "If Naomi ever talks, make sure she doesn't leave that courtroom free." The story broke on a Monday morning. By noon, Marcus's face was everywhere, but not the smiling version. Headlines screamed corruption, false imprisonment, witness manipulation. By evening, police escorted him out of his office. Yvette disappeared for 3 days before turning herself in. The city council race collapsed. Sponsors pulled funding. The church returned donations. Friends vanished. Marcus requested to see me after his arrest. I almost didn't go, but closure matters. He sat across from me in an interrogation room, eyes sunken, suit replaced with county orange. "You planned this," he said hoarsely. I met his gaze, steady and calm. "No," I replied. "You did. I just survived it." When the judge overturned my conviction weeks later, the courtroom applauded. But I didn't smile. Justice isn't loud, it's heavy. Marcus Bell was sentenced to 8 years. The same walls he once condemned me to now waited for him. As I walked out, Isaiah took my hand. "What now, Mom?" I looked up at the sky wide open, honest. "Now," I said, "we live." And somewhere behind us, a man who thought he controlled everything finally learned the cost of destroying the wrong. Woman. Thanks for watching till end. Please like and subscribe my channel. I will be very thankful to you. Sometimes life takes turns we never expect. Every person in this story carried their own pain, their own choices, and their own consequences. Maybe you saw yourself in one of them more. Maybe it reminded you of someone you once knew. What do you think happened next? What would you have done if you were in their place? If you have any questions about what happened to the other characters, or if you want me to share more about them, just comment below. I read every message you leave, and your thoughts truly mean a lot to me. And if this story touched your heart, inspired you, or even made you think differently, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep sharing stories that move people, open minds. And remind us we're all human. At the end of the day, your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching, for feeling, and for being part of this journey. More powerful stories are coming soon. Stay tuned and stay kind.